Bonjour and welcome into the cave. My guest today is the vocalist of a Scottish band that mixes catchy choruses with deep lyrics that get you right in the feels. They released earlier this year their EP In Conversation with Myself, but I'm not stopping here and just released a new song, Forget, on September the 12th. Ian Mann from New Shapes is here with me today. Hi Ian.
Hi, how you doing? As you said, I'm the vocalist of Newshapes. We just put out a song, and previously this year we put out an EP that kind of took us through the UK for the first time, and I'm really excited to chat to you about kind of the lyrics and what some of them might mean.
Thank you, Ian. Yeah, that was my first question because you released In Conversation with Myself in April this year, and how has it been going since then?
It's been good. I think the first single came out, it was The Rain. It came out maybe a year ago now. The singles were kind of last year, but the full record was in April, and it went really well. We took it on the road, just a short kind of UK tour. We played our largest headline show in Glasgow and sold it out. We then played Manchester for the first time. We went back to Birmingham, and then we played London in our biggest show and sold that out as well. I think I've said this before to people, but I think this is the first time we've kind of started to feel a bit more like a real band. Like real imposter syndrome, but we're feeling like a real band sometimes now. It's nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. From what I see, like the comments on your Instagram, on YouTube, like
so
the
sweet.
feedback from the people is great, and that's totally
it's really sweet.
Talking about this, the first song that you wanted to talk about is Sick of Breathing. Can you first let me know why you chose this one?
So I guess for anybody who hasn't listened to the record, it's 4 songs. You said we kind of lean heavier guitars, big drums, big screaming. Sick of Breathing is a pop song. It's like right down the middle. It's a real poppy, catchy, dancey track. We tried doing something similar to that earlier, like in our earlier music, but we always kind of stayed a bit really close to kind of the rock and hardcore. But Sick of Breathing was just let's just do a pop song. But it didn't quite work. I couldn't quite get lyrics for it at all. So when we came to writing this record and whatever, I was just kind of like annoyed and angry at kind of having nothing to write. The lyrics for this are completely contrast the track. The song is really poppy, jumpy. It's got a massive kind of like 1975-esque guitar solo in the middle. But the lyrics, they're super down. They're super not like to the point that it's almost funny how much they contrast, but they're just kind of like melancholic and like a bit depressive. Yeah. So I don't know. It's really kind of an interesting one from the record. Whereas I think the music of the other ones really fits the lyrics they're going for. I think this one was an interesting choice because it's the absolute opposite.
This actually made me think a bit of do you know the band Turnover and the album Peripheral Vision? So this is kind of the same contrast that it made me think about, and I love it. And I think you kind of talk about it in the lyrics. So everything I'm going to talk about is how I interpret it. So of course, stop me if you're like, no, this is absolutely not
wrong.
what I meant.
You're never wrong. That's how you interpret it.
But for example, you say the line, tonight's a movie and it's begging me to feel sad. It's hard to cry because I love when it gets bad. And that's a bit of the contrast that we can hear also in those lyrics.
The main thing about this song was I didn't have anything to write about. And I was just like, I couldn't write any music. I'm a guitar player, like first, that's how I learned music. I learned guitar. So I had loads of like instrumentals, lots of guitar, bass, drums, big things. But I didn't have any words, and I was like, I don't know what to talk about. And somebody was just like, why don't you talk about how you have nothing to talk about, kind of. And that one was like, okay. And it kind of morphed away from that as it went on. It kind of morphed away from, kind of having nothing in here to talk about. And that line is, aside from the kind of way it adds to the overall meaning of the song, it's almost like quite a tongue-in-cheek take on like TikTok rock. Well, it's got those kind of like modern references and all these kind of like modern slang and stuff. So I kind of, as much as it adds to the song, I think that one's kind of just fun. I think that's a fun lyric to throw in there, and as you said, it's kind of an A-B that kind of clashes.
So when you started writing it, that was really your mindset of, in French we say like the blank page. I don't know if it's translated in English too, but that's also...
Yeah, you start from scratch would be similar, like you have nothing, having a blank page. That's almost exactly it. Like I think I had the instrumentals for The Rain and Deadweight as well. But this one kind of came from like I didn't have the music for this and then I put the words to it. This was like, okay, I'm going to write about how like, I guess it's how I'm trying to translate not having anything to write about and kind of personify that, if that makes sense. While it is based on the experience of me having nothing to write about, that's not what the song's about. I've like tried to personify that and humanize that feeling into kind of more of what the song's about.
Do you mean like feeling a bit, a bit numb when you're...
Yeah,
you don't know
pretty
exactly
much.
how
That's
you
kind
feel?
of... Yeah, that's kind of exactly it. I'm sitting like in front of this exact setup right now. Again, with lots of instrumental tracks, just not knowing what to talk about. The first record was really sad. Really kind of like sad album. And the songs after that were quite sad. So this time round, I was feeling frustrated because I couldn't do that. So the whole concept behind that record is to channel this frustration. And this one was the first one I wrote lyrics for that I was like, okay. I'm just mad. Like that's what it is. I'm just mad, and I've got like, but not like mad to the point I'm angry. Like you said, like numb. I'm frustrated, and that's the only thing that's there. It's just blank.
So is this, if I understood correctly, that's the first song you write?
The first song
for this EP?
Lyrics, at least. I maybe had guitars
lyrics,
and stuff for other ones, but the first one that had lyrics that kind of cemented what the other three were going to be.
Okay, like, is there a storyline between the four, or?
Not like a strict storyline. It's track 3 on the record because we kind of wanted to, kind of have the 2 rock ones up front to kind of show the sound kind of changed a little bit. Just kind of show what that's about. But then this third track was, it was just really honest, I think. And like I said, as much as I've kind of personified it, made it tongue in cheek, tried to like weave it into its own story so it's not, just me saying I am sad, I have nothing to say. And I think it really kind of solidifies itself as like just being its own thing in the catalogue. I don't think it doesn't sound like anything else we have.
Yeah. And
I think that's why I like it so much.
Yeah, it's very nice. Usually when you want to start a new song, where do you start from?
Like I said, I play guitar. I'm a guitarist first. I work with, I've got a real ear for like melody. That's what I like. I like chords, I like melodies, I like stacking. Vocals come like pretty last minute, and lyrics come last minute for me sometimes. I don't know if there was a time when I used to write a lot of lyrics and then just kind of use them with a song. But I actually, when I write, I'm using like nonsense words, like not English, not anything, just syllables to try and be like, do I like that sound? And now after Sick of Breathing, I've kind of come back like, okay, well, you can keep that writing idea, but let's see what you're feeling, what you're thinking about. It doesn't have to be me. Do I want to just write a story now? Do I want to just like talk about, just make something up? Not every song has to be really personal. It can be, well, that's something I want to talk about kind of thing. So that I'm able to kind of meld those two together a bit more, probably because of this song.
So we talked about the line, tonight's a movie and it's making me to feel sad. Is there any other line for you in that song that really captures the essence of this song?
I think my favourite line to sing live is almost the line immediately after that. All I'm looking for tonight is another round of applause into the big clap. But I think that kind of just talks to what the whole record's about. It's called A Conversation with Myself, and it's just about that, this internal struggle. It's about me having that chat. That's why in the chorus I say, oh God, I'm so used to singing it on autopilot, I can't remember the words exactly. Another second chance, give me another second glance. That's kind of like the rhyme. The chorus almost sounds like a love song, but like to yourself, like to myself. It's a weird kind of, I'm so empty, I'm so down, I don't know what to do. I just need to give myself that space to like breathe and open up. I like the applause line because that kind of cements that from the first chorus. Like, sometimes you just want like a pat on the back, like you're doing good, like you're okay, which maybe deviates from the kind of the blankness thing a little, but it ties it more to kind of the rest of the record that I kind of wanted to leave it in. So again, there's not like a real strong narrative story, but I think the themes and the lyrics all kind of meld together really well from start to finish on this EP.
So in conversation with myself, so you talking to yourself and writing how you feel, even if you don't have anything to write, you write it. And so it's a bit like therapy and actually realizing what you're feeling and that just unlocking.
It's exactly that. It's kind of difficult to do that with yourself sometimes. I think it's really, I'm really bad for taking a lot of I feel like I have to do everything. I feel like I have to keep doing everything. And if I don't slow down, I don't slow down, I don't slow down. And this record was me kind of just letting that out, not strictly saying, okay, we're going to do this and get better and it's going to be okay, because it's not really that. No song on the record says it's going to be okay, because that's not, which sounds really depressing, but that's not what it's about. It's telling that kind of hitting that wall, not able to get past it. So that's kind of where a lot of the lyrics on this came from, and they've springboarded.
At the end, you repeat a few times, I'm done with the tough love and self-doubt. And now that you told me your mindset while you wrote it, I interpret it completely different, because at first I could feel it as whether, okay, I'm done with that, or a bit like begging, please stop this. But it's actually kind of more of a release and accepting it and just going forward.
Well, that's what I like about lyrics, because you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You can, if that's it, you can read it that way.
Yeah.
People watch movies and people read books and they read things different ways, and I think that's amazing. I think I think for me it was maybe a release of just like, not so we're saying the same thing, which is really funny. You're saying, oh, I'm done with this, I'm moving on, whereas I'm saying, oh, I'm done with this, like exactly. I'm still there. Whereas you've read it as I'm past that, and it can, and I think for me now it probably does mean this kind of past tense as you interpret it, which I think is really interesting, that how the song has obviously changed meaning for me, because, well, like I said, the first single came out a year ago, so we wrote this song just more than a year ago now, so it's quite, to me, I know it's quite new for everyone else, so it's quite old for me now. So I think it's nice that it's been able to go through that journey for me as well, and also that you yourself have got your own interpretation of what it means.
Yeah. When I read through the comments on YouTube or Instagram, every person can have their own, and some people, I think there is also two types of people who only hear the melody and the people who mostly focus on the lyrics. So some people are just like, oh, I love the vibe, when the lyrics could be completely not a good vibe.
Yeah, I think we get that a lot. We get that a lot on some of the rockier songs, some of the heavier songs. People are just in it for the riffs and the stuff, which is cool. That's like I said, I play guitar, I do that first. The riffs and the songwriting is like important, but I think it's also important to have something to say, even if it's just you being honest. A lot of some amazing bands can tell, and vocalists and songwriters can tell amazing stories, and some of the most amazing kind of like bigger thought. Plus, one of my favorite albums of all time is The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, and that's start to finish. It's a book. It's like a book of poems and stories. I'm not quite there yet. I'm maybe just not confident in my ability to do that. It's something I'd like to tackle, something much bigger and something more deliberate like that. But I think it's important to like read what somebody's actually saying. I don't think they would be singing if they didn't have something to actually say. I think it's important that like if there's lyrics to it, they clearly mean something, even if it's just to the listener.
Yeah, no, I get it, and it's like every form of art, everything is subjective. Some people just like how it looks. Some people want to see a meaning of it. But for music, and I think especially in this type of genres, people really like to relate or to understand the mindset of the band. So,
yeah, I think it's important, especially with alternative music culture. It's kind of shifted into almost becoming alternative mainstream now. Rock's kind of having a real resurgence. It used to just be for like weirdos, and I am one,
Yeah.
but I'm just using like the old school terminology. It used to be for like the weirdos and the outcasts, And I think it's growing so much because, well, one, the internet and, everyone has access to it now. But two, like, a lot more people feel like that than you'd think. And I think that's why a lot of pop music is now starting to be a lot more honest as well.
Mm-hmm.
Your Chapel Roans and stuff, they're a lot more sad, they're a lot more upfront with sex stuff, but not in a, 2008 glam kind of way, like old school pop. I think it's really interesting. I think people are just getting more and more in tune with lyrics. Obviously, some people will always just be like, hell yeah, riffs. But I think it's nice to see that, and it's how rock and alternative music is kind of shaping the pop world as well.
Yeah, I think it's very a generational thing that, people just want more authenticity that we've always had mostly in alternative music. And that's funny because now I see more and more older people reacting when music gets more into politics, for example, and they're like, no, politics doesn't belong in music, but
keep politics out of music.
Yeah.
And that's the people that were listening to the guitar riffs.
Yeah,
20
exactly.
Years ago. You weren't listening to what he was saying. Yeah, exactly. For sure.
But yeah, I'm all for it, for this search of authenticity and just because you kind of want to relate to the person you're listening to. At least for me, like, it's not like I feel like I want to be friends with the person, but I want to relate to them.
Yeah, no, I agree. And with that said, I think there's a space for fun music. I listen to a lot of like dance music. I listen to a lot of just like heavy stuff that's the lyrics are ridiculously heavy and evil and nonsense. So it doesn't always have to be like somebody being really honest or something. But I think it's, even if the message is let's have fun, I think it's important to kind of listen to what people are saying. So exactly. I agree with you completely.
Going back into the song, so you said that you wrote this song more than a year ago, so maybe your mindset is a bit different from now. And this is a good transition to the new song that you just released, Forget, because you just start the song with Start Again and Forget. So can you tell me what this song is about?
I think the opening line kind of sets the tone. It's kind of it's my first time letting go a bit. I kind of wrote a lot of the music before, with people that were in the band, helping, contributing, especially on the last record, that kind of ramped up a bit more. But this is my first time kind of just having, okay, I have like an idea for a song. Let's do this kind of together. Which, one, I'll be honest, sometimes I didn't like it. I was like, no, you're changing too many things, stop. But I think when we finally got the lyrics finalized and, the song was in a good place where we're all like, oh, this isn't just me and some guys helping out to make it, a bit more what you would call new shapes. This is new shapes now. It's equally the four of us. It's, I think, even musically, it's a bit of a sidestep. It's not, we're not going away and doing something totally different. We thought, when we do this kind of let's get everyone involved thing, let's really, really nail down what our next sound is going to be. And it kind of naturally unfolded into this. It ended up being very just down the middle, like, let's just do a rock song, And I think it's all about, I can't put it more succinctly than I did. Like, it's a new chapter, we're not exactly going to ignore everything we've done before. Why would we? We're going to keep it in the set list for a long time. It's all great stuff, but it's the next step, I think.
This could be a new chapter for New Shapes, and what is going to be this chapter like?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I think it's this next step. It's also kind of a next step for me. Like I said, the last record kind of came out of frustration and not being able to write. And once it was done and we chose kind of the 4 songs that were going to be on it and we recorded and wrote them, I've almost been like a machine just making music. Just making, maybe again, still not so much like as many lyrics as I should be because I just love making like music. But it's kind of, even personally for me, it's been like, okay, we are past that now. And I think that's kind of why when we spoke earlier, it kind of does marry with Sick of Breathing quite well. Because those last lyrics have kind of flipped in meaning, as we said. And I think it's, how do I word this? The intention is to draw a line in the sand under that frustration and that, and how difficult that record was to write lyrically for me. And just be like, okay, let's start again. Let's do it from scratch, both for me and the band. It's kind of like it's kind of almost cringy how like many layers of it's okay, it's all new. We're trying to like throw in just with that single line.
But is it more about forgetting or just being at peace that this happened, but now you're over it?
It's definitely just saying like I think I've learned from that, and to not put too much on my shoulders, and to not like have to rely on me being the one doing everything. You know, I'm able to kind of ease off and let it back. But that's not as catchy as the word forget. So sometimes I'm like, let's make it sound like a song sometimes.
Yeah, I get it. And can you walk me through a bit the process of the recordings?
This is just a standalone single. This one isn't going to be part of anything bigger. There's more on the way that we're planning and doing things with. But this song is just kind of almost similar to what we've done before with other tracks. It's just okay, cool, kind of a full stop, but also the start. It's more like the start of the next sentence.
So it's like a transition song between what you did and what's
to come. I think so. It was a bit of an experiment. You know, lots of new sounds, lots of new ideas, lots of new things happening on the guitar. Me even emotionally kind of looking at a bit more of a broader scope of things. The band getting a bit more hand on the music, so I'm even more hands off. It's just a real transitional song.
Your mindset was completely different from when you recorded Sick of Breathing and
I think so. I think I can get frustrated pretty easily if things aren't going right and doing well for me, band, anything personal. So I think that's just me. I think I'm just like that, so that's kind of always there. But as you said, I think it's maybe coming to peace with it and able to kind of tackle it from different directions. And this song almost, especially the chorus, it's almost apocalyptic. It's a real like, it's weird because it almost sounds like a regression. Sounds like, oh, everything's falling apart again. Da, da, da. I think the intent behind it was more like watching that kind of leave me behind. Sorry, me leave that behind. And again, almost morphed into a way that it works as a song better, you know? And I'm not one for like kind of like positive, let's keep going kind of lyrics. I don't know, they're just not something I tend to write. So I've almost flipped that into, I'm not sure, it almost feels ironic, to be honest, some of the words on this track.
Yeah, but also I think to get on a better path you need to have a real look at what happened and accept it, and you know, not just ignore it and just say, okay, everything's fine. So this is how I see it actually. So this makes sense.
Yeah, it's a real epilogue for the EP, I think. It's not intended to be part of it, you know. It's like I said, it's real in the middle, more of an interlude. Then I guess we're about to go and see what's next. We're about to go and tackle what's next, while still acknowledging.
And from what you're saying, what I understand is like you're quite a perfectionist. Is it really mostly with you, like you're harsh on yourself, or it's for everything?
I don't know if it's so much harsh in a way that like, I don't know, I'm not like taking anything out on myself or anything, but like, I think this is what I like about everyone in the band. We're now able to be quite honest with each other. And when we're recording, I can say, you can do better than that. I think I just hold myself to more of a standard because it's me. Same as the guys, you know, they definitely say, oh, I can play better than that, where I would maybe let them, you know, things like that. So when it comes to kind of, I've really been trying to get better as a singer. I'm quite happy with how I sing. I think, you know, I can hit the notes and I can sound cool, but, you know, some of my favourite singers, to bring it back, Gerard Way from My Chems, you know, a real obvious one. Some of your shouty guys, I really like Winston from Parkway Drive. Just guys with a lot of emotion in their voice. And when I listen to my voice, I hear it in some sections, but not on others. I'm like, oh, I like that. Or like, oh, that sounds like I'm just singing it quite flat and quite dull. So I've been trying to like put more me and more like maybe get across the emotion I'm feeling more.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess in like more aggressive bits, I could scream them, but that's not the emotion I'm feeling. I want to be angrier. So that's maybe how I'm dealing with my voice. And I think that's a weight I'm yet to take off my shoulders, I think, is my performance as a musician.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I did pretty well on the last record, but it's still kind of there.
Yeah, and we are always our best critics, or not best, but something that we would see on ourselves. Other people don't even notice it at all, which has its good side because there is always room for improvement, and then that means that you're willing to put in the work to improve. And then the other side of the coin is just trying to beat yourself up, for lack of better words.
Yeah, no, I get you, and I think that's one of the things I'm getting pretty good at now, not beating myself up for things.
That's good.
I think I'm pretty good at not beating myself up, but I still do see like not so much areas on older music, because some of our older music I'm now at the point where I'm like, oh, that was great. Oh, we should do that again. You know, I'm just back to listening to like my music as a fan now. Whereas like when something first comes out, you're like, oh, we could have changed the guitar there and whatever. But I think I'm always in that stage of myself, like, oh, I could have sang that better. I could have changed that line. I could have. So I think it's just like it's this back and forth of like, and this song's out, and I think it's going to be one of my favorites. And we played it live before it came out, and it went off really well. You know, nobody in the crowd knew it, but it was fun to play. And I think it's going to stay that way. But I think maybe in like in a year's time, I don't know. It's just how long I need. I'll go back and listen to it and be like that. Yeah, that's the one. It's interesting how my own music grows on me, I think.
No, yeah, it's good. You're just being realistic and trying to improve yourself always. And I feel like the more we're getting, also the harder it can get, because I think more from the 90s, 2000s, the quality of it was not as important as it is now, if you know what I mean. Like, singers were not necessarily the best singer, especially live. And now
there was a lot of kind of post grunge punk and stuff like that.
It just
didn't. Which interesting. So much emotion behind that, though. Yeah. That's what I mean. But I think you're right. I think singers, it's mostly noticeable with guitars and drums. Like guitarists, if you're into like metal music, guitarists are some of the best they've ever been. Drummers are some of the best they've ever been. And I think subconsciously vocalists are starting to feel that pressure that you should probably be pretty good.
Keep up.
You should probably practice. You should probably not. You know, the drummers don't get to do it. My drummer doesn't get to go easy on himself, because we write really hard drum parts. So I think it's only fair that I'm like, okay,
yeah,
maybe I'll try and try and better myself too.
This is also good because then when you get to shows, and like the example I have in mind. Have you ever seen Dayseeker live?
Yeah, I've seen Dayseeker a couple of times. Yeah,
and it was crazy. Like, he sang 2 notes, and I was like, and
yeah, he's really well.
And the whole band is just
consistent as well. I think, yeah, the band's really tight. But I think Rory's thing is he's very consistent. You know, you can go and see a couple shows, and he's well practiced.
Yeah.
He'll sound different, because he'll sing different things slightly, but he will sound like him every night. And that's a thing that tour, as much as it was only 4 days, kind of put back in my mind. We've not been touring a lot. We've been doing a lot of one-off shows. And I think it's really easy to get lazy with that. I did for a couple of years, maybe at the start of the band, I was pretty lazy doing these one-off shows. Just like, I'll practice for like the week before and then I'll be fine. But I think, you know, the consistency, and it's like going to work out. It's like exercising, because it's muscles, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to train them, and you have to, you know, keep the mindset right, keep everything. It's so difficult.
Yeah, because at the same time you have to keep the authenticity, because if I had to choose, I think I would rather a band that is not perfectly on point but very authentic and just having a good connection with the crowd, rather than a band that sounds exactly like the record but you feel nothing. So it's a hard balance to get to, and I feel like as the years go by, it's getting harder and harder.
Because bands are getting better and better at sounding like the record and being good. Like, it's You're right. I think it's good though. I think it's gonna
definitely. Yeah.
It's I think some genres can get to a point where like there's too many bands that sound like really similar.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of like electronic genres you can put on like a playlist. I think it's the playlist that's done this. You can put a playlist of house music or any kind of techno, and you'll get 100 different songs from 100 different artists, and it doesn't really matter because that's what you're listening to. I think some kind of really popular alternative music is kind of falling into that category now,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's cool that we're getting some of your big hitters like Spirit Box and Sleep Token are the most notable ones now, I guess, that are in that scene, but they don't sound like anyone now. They're bringing in references from, they're pulling in Radiohead, they're pulling in all these other kind of like electronic acts as well, which is really interesting.
Yeah, but at the same time, there are now the reference bands, like a lot of bands that I have in my Instagram recommendations, for example, are for fans of Sleep Token, Bad Omens, Bring Me the Horizon, for fans of Spirit Box when it's a female vocalist, because if you're a woman, you sound like Spirit Box. But yeah,
I find that really interesting because sometimes, and this isn't a dig, it's a marketing technique we've tried years ago. You don't sound like that band.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You don't sound like them. It was a really popular marketing thing in like 2014, 15 to be like your new favorite band because we sound like our singer kind of sounds like Ollie Sykes, but like as you said earlier, it's authenticity and genuineness. That's why TikTok and Instagram Reels and a lot of solo acts are doing so well right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of solo acts and people interacting with the phone directly, saying hello to my fans rather than lots of other stuff. And we're finding it hard to do that. We're it's a difficult thing to get used to, is to look at your phone and pretend it's a real person on the other side.
Talking about that, what were your influences, or when you started the band, what were your references?
When I was growing up, at least, the big ones were, I can't stop mentioning them: My Chemical Romance, Green Day, Blink-182. I was playing guitar first. I started singing for my band in high school because nobody else would sing. Literally nobody would sing, so I kind of had to make that up myself. I got really into kind of progressive metal. Tesseract. Prog guys that are into prog would probably say this is not real prog. But Tesseract and Periphery and, these kind of like metalcore adjacent bands. And then I think when Holding Absence started coming about in about 2017, I went to see a friend's band and they were supporting them. And there was like nobody in the room. There was nobody in the room. This is my real claim to fame. There was like 5 people in that room.
Crazy.
And they put on one of the coolest shows I've ever seen. And I think that's maybe why, like, the vocalist thing, I feel like I have to always keep getting better, has like stuck with me. Because Lucas was doing things like 8 years ago that I wasn't seeing anyone put the effort into do, basically, Yeah, and then when so I had like a metal band going at the time, and then when kind of New Shapes started, it was like, I guess it was like falling out of metal and getting more into, hardcore, emo. I actually went back to stuff I missed. When I was younger, I missed out on like a lot of Under Oath. I missed out on a lot of Seosin. I missed out on a lot of like Flyleaf is kind of one of my big ones now. And I was kind of going back to these bands that were like, there's almost nothing fancy about it, which I know totally contradicts everything I just said. But like, there's nothing, the guitars aren't shredding, the drums aren't totally ripping, but the songwriting's really good. They're focused on like how they deliver. If you're playing just like an A chord, like how are you playing that A chord, I guess is kind of how I felt about it. There was a lot more punk in it than what I was listening to, and it was just, so I think I wanted New Shapes to be that. And obviously Linkin Park are the greatest band in the world to me, so it was big keyboards and big choruses had to be the thing. When we did our first couple tracks, they were probably too Linkin Park. And then I kind of let the post-hardcore stuff back in as I was listening to it. We've tried different stuff over the discography, and now we've landed at this song, and it's quite funny because it's almost gone right back to being just like a Linkin Park level stadium track. I think it's huge.
Yeah.
I think it's real stompy. It's a real sing along. We've cut out the frills for this one because we kind of proved we can do that already.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not here to say that we're not doing fast drums or anything else at all, but I think it was just important that we almost like Sick of Breathing because that's quite a, head boppy kind of song that doesn't show off too much. That like we could just write a good song, just a good chords, melody, drums, just a good song. And I think that was the intention behind Forget, for sure.
And I guess it's more interesting for you as a band to show versatility and just have fun with different genres, different styles, and
it's so much more fun. I think if you release a song and it like doesn't do too well, it's obviously much scarier with like an album. If a band wants to try something, but I think if you release a song and it doesn't do too well, it's not the end of the world. I think you can be like, okay, well, fans aren't really into that. Instead of trying to like double down, I've seen a lot of bands over the years. You've probably seen it too, where they've tried to do a style change and it hasn't worked. But they stick to it. And I don't mean like, oh, go back to what you know, but I think there's something to be said for writing for your band, if that makes sense. So we're still early in our career, but I think by the end of maybe album 2, we'll have a sound, and I think it's how do you adapt and change that sound as you go, or you can just be one of the coolest songwriters in the world and just go and do like a jazz fusion record and everyone loves it because it's so cool. Like Peripheral Vision is that for that band. They all the early stuff is like fast pop punk, crazy stuff. But then if you have lightning in a bottle, I think you should capture it. But I think there's something to be said for knowing what your band is shooting for and making sure that you're not almost like shooting yourself in the foot by like dismissing your fans, I guess is the way to say it. We say you play the same album 3 times in a row, people are going to be like, oh, it's just the same album again. It's impossible. I don't think any band's ever perfected this. You're never going to have the same fans from album 1 to 2 and 3 to 4. I don't know. I find it interesting. I find it interesting just trying something different. This is still a big rock song, but it's like so much slower, and it's just like it's just dancey. It's fun.
Yeah, and it's a hard balance to find because whether if you do the same thing, people will criticize you for it, and then if you change too much, or they went too soft, or whatever. So whatever, might as well have fun doing it. People who like it will stay, and in the end, I think it all goes back to the authenticity and being genuine.
I think so too. I think because you can tell, not to name any bands, I think you can tell when they've maybe lost some fans and then tried to go back to a sound. And to me, I'm always like,
yeah, it's not
that's
like
not
before.
really, that's not like what you're. I can tell you're trying to like make money, and that's also cool. Like I said, that's also, it's a career for some people. If it's going to sell tons of records and you're going to do bigger, I'm just really into like a band that's going to stick to what they actually want to make and what they believe in.
Those changes is what we can see with New Shapes in the future. And can you tell us a bit more about what people can expect from New Shapes in the future? So
we've got this song out. We're going to be spending a bit of time with it, seeing how people like it. That's the plan. We're constantly in the studio this year. It's we've seemed a little quiet because we're kind of readjusting, and after tour we were like, let's just take a bit of time and make some music. And we're kind of coming to the end point of that now. We're a band, we make music. I can probably say that yes, songs are being made. It's probably not the end of the world. We're looking, hopefully it would be fun the plan is to maybe do a few shows before the end of the year. If not, we will definitely be doing shows at the start of next year, and hopefully more fun things to come before the end of this year as well. But I'm not allowed to talk about it. Very nice. Thank you very much, Ian. Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time. Me too. So for everyone listening, go listen to New Shapes and then the song Forget, and also their EP In Conversation with Myself. And meanwhile, you can also follow me on Instagram at Into the Cave Pod. And I will talk to you again next week with another guest. And meanwhile, be kind to yourself. Bye.